Alrighty. I'm going to give it another minute and a half and see if we have other people joining. So exciting. Michael, have you been to Bushland before? Somebody was telling me about the roller coasters in Florida at a place called Bushland, and they said there were some crazy roller coasters.
Haven't been there yet. The last time I was in Florida was 1986. And the furthest south I've been in Florida
That's fair.
10.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody was talking to me about that today, and I was like, I don't really go on roller coasters, but I do have a friend who does. Awesome. Alrighty, we are 1 minute out here. Let me just check to make sure that it's all connected. Alrighty. Okay. We are at 7 p.m. We're officially at our start time. We have Michael, Jamie, and Erica joining us today. So this is our December board meeting. It's a pretty easy one this time. Not a lot of crazy stuff going on. Okay, so he's not on here right now, but we did get a pretty good donation from the Model A Club, and that was very exciting after they came through and did a tour with us. Anybody have any comments on the Model A Club or their donation?
I saw that it got posted.
Yeah.
So
good. Alrighty, moving on. We have Erica Crawford on with us, and we would like to nominate her to the board. She can help us out with any of our letters we're sending out. She can help us out with keeping track of the minutes, and I think she'd be a really great addition to the board. Anybody opposed to that?
No.
All right. All in favor?
All in aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, great. All righty.
And with that in mind, I
any
have a letter ready to go. Just needs to be signed.
Oh, good. Perfect.
One to the county.
That's the one for the north end?
Yes.
Good. Good. All right. Any comments, questions before we go here? All right. Moving on to our next thing. I put out a camera at the Castaic landslide to see if it was actively moving. And instead of, seeing too much dirt move, we did see a lot of vehicles and people crossing over the landslide. I was on the phone with Scotty earlier today, and he made a call to the Federal Highway Administration, and they might be able to help us with that, help us get that cleaned up. So that's a step in the right direction. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, so they're in the process of figuring out what they can do to help us. Any thoughts, comments?
He led that in the past, so it's good that he
Yeah. That's real exciting to have him back on board for this. Alrighty. Anything else pertains to the landslide?
It looks like the markers are still there.
Markers are still there. Last time I was up there, Jamie, have you been up there recently?
I haven't been up there since we were up there. So I was thinking I might go up. Well, actually, on my way up to Fraser tomorrow, I could pop in there real quick. I won't drive all the way through, but I'll drive that far and just take a look real quick.
Okay,
Make sure it's looking okay.
great. Yeah, I was thinking of just taking the road up there to go to the meeting anyway. So if you wanna meet up there at some point in the morning, I can meet you.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that then. Definitely.
Okay, great. Moving on to the next thing, our road monuments. I've been seeing emails go back and forth with our scout and the Forest Service, so that's moving forward right now, and that's really exciting.
Good.
Who are they contacting with the Forest Service?
Michael, last name starts with a P.
Paniagua.
I
Yeah.
have to. Yes, yeah.
Okay. Good.
So they've been going back and forth with him. Alrighty. Any more thoughts, comments, concerns about the road monuments? All right, moving on. Looking into next year, this has been my makeshift plan for this year that I've made up based off of the bigger road plan. So right now I have January to March tends to be the rainy season and where we endure most of the damage. So we're focusing on what I'm calling defensive maintenance.
Yeah.
So that's
That's a fair term.
sandbags, clearing anything that could cause a problem. April to June, we move into, if any mud or any rocks go into the road, clearing that. And then I would love to get some brush cleared in places like the Tumble Inn and Sandbergs and, any of those major road stops to clean them up and keep them less of a fire hazard. And then during the hotter months, pothole project, and then any of the major repairs we can get done. So we'll keep rolling with what we've already got going with the potholes. I think we're about ready to start moving into that section from Libre Maintenance Camp to Tumble In there.
Yeah.
There's a couple big ones that I want to hit by Horseshoe Bend that are concrete. So that's going to require a little bit more approval going in, but we have time between now and July that we can get that sorted out. And then November to December, which is about where we're at now, is our winter prep that we've been doing. So
Yeah. Michael, what have you been hearing on weather coming up? Because on the news this evening, it was looking like we're going to be relatively dry this winter.
That's the forecast I've been seeing from quite a few different sources. Basically where it's more of a La Nina, and as a result, that tends to be drier in Southern California. Tends to be doesn't mean will be. We still may get a few impactful storms, but it's not shaping up to be a major one. And I mean, at this point, we're in mid-December, and we still haven't really seen much. On a decent year, by October, we're starting to see things.
Yeah.
So even there was that rain, a few weeks ago, whenever it was, but it nothing's really amounted to all that much, and that was the only significance that we got here in Southern California. Northern is a whole other story. They're getting slammed.
Yeah,
I heard.
Tornadoes and major flooding.
Yeah, when I went up there on the road after that biggest storm that we've had, there was just traces of water in places. There really wasn't much of anything. So,
where we definitely should be, looking for is like pooling or ponding water.
Yeah. There's that one spot kind of between Tumble In and Kelly's.
Oh yeah.
But that you have to dig out a new culvert for that one. Yeah. All right. So, any more thoughts on our maintenance schedule for this coming year? Anything we think should be added or brought up?
Well, one other thing, just as a, I want to, there's only a few, but work on restoring the um, paddles that have been damaged otherwise, mostly like the ones at National Forest Inn,
Okay.
and with any additional paddles that are damaged.
All right. So,
Yeah, there's the one at Culvert 16 that's kind of at a 45-degree angle.
oh no. So how are those attached in the ground? Are they just stuck in the ground at that point? Is that something that we can just get new ones and just replant them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just stuck in the ground.
So that's a pretty simple one. We can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a matter of obtaining the markers themselves. I'll track those down.
Yeah. Yeah, because it looks like they're just like the sticker letters, the reflective sticker letters on the paddles too.
Yes, and those are
So we can just get generic paddles and then some stickers. All right. Cool. Just kind of year-end stuff. For pothole project, we got 13 potholes filled using 70 bags of cold patch,
Oh my God.
totaling in a little over $1,000 worth of cold patch. Most of these were donated bags, so that was wonderful. You can kind of see on the right side how many work dates each pothole took. Some of them, that number 7 pothole was 3 separate work dates as it settled.
Yeah.
So, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay. Jamie and I were talking about this a little bit, but we want to establish standard procedures for like clean up the ridge route and surveys and meetings. So this doesn't have to be a thing that happens now, but it's a thing that we should start thinking about. I know with Clean Up the Ridge route, we have, the sign-in sheet from the Forest Service that we use. And then we also have set meeting places at the north and south. But if there's anything that we need to like be on the lookout for or make sure we hit, just to make it easier on safety.
Safety protocols during, make sure everybody's, properly dressed, to understand what to do, what not to do. Kind of dealt with the same thing with the Adopt a Highway, where yes, you had a section of highway to clean up, but it wasn't necessarily every last bit of it. There were sections where it was, kind of prohibited or off limits because of safety factors. Kind of the same thing with, probably not a good idea to, hike into the brush, 100 feet down or something like that. Unless there's some specific reason for it, but things like that, just making sure that people are doing the right
thing. And then should we write up a standard like little safety briefing? So at the beginning, before we start, we go down, the standard closed-toe shoes, don't cut your fingers off, all that stuff.
We have some of that already on the website, on the cutter section.
Okay. Let me see if I can pop that up real quick. Is it under the requirements tab over here?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and convert this to something we can do a little spiel when people get there, just to make sure everybody's covered and we're covered. And then for gold member surveys, do we need to have any sort of briefing at the beginning of this? I mean, we kind of do a little bit of here's the broader history of the road.
Yeah, I
But is
think,
there anything we do?
basic, you're not just driving a road. I mean, for one, the roadway is historic, but it's also, making sure that you, I don't know, just be on the lookout for various road hazards are that can be found on the road, sinkholes, potholes, you know, making sure you're not damaging certain things, making sure you're not driving over historic striping, things like
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
And avoiding rebar.
Yes.
Avoiding rebar. That's a big one. Gotcha. Alrighty. And then calling meetings. We've been a little loose with this one. This was a scheduled meeting, but I wasn't on it and I didn't remind everybody before. But when we're looking at calling meetings, what's the notice? How many days, hours do we
I'd
need
say
to
at least a
be?
week would be, okay. Depending on what it is. I mean, if there's an emergency thing, hey, we need to meet tomorrow for, I don't know, some sort of an emergency it's on the road. That's one thing.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'd say, a week and a half out is not terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Preferably longer for or it's more of an established, we're going to have a meeting once a month or what have you.
Yeah.
But that's, a week is usually pretty decent.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Anything else you think we need to establish standard procedures for that would just make it easier?
I mean, maybe through email.
Okay. What are we establishing for email?
No, I mean, just, I guess sending out an email for, if calling a meeting,
Okay.
along those lines.
Sounds good. All right. Okay, y'all good here? Any comments, concerns, questions before we move on?
Think of anything?
No?
All right, moving on. Okay, we do need a refresh. Jamie and I are running out of our stickers. So we're gonna need a refresh of those. I just want to make sure that that's all good and it's within our budget, or if we have a marketing budget, what is that? So I can kind of make sure we're following that.
Well, on that end, I wouldn't say we don't have a specific budget for it, but it definitely should be low. Most of the expenses are for, the idea is to have, for materials.
Exactly.
For mostly for the, the road itself.
Okay.
That makes
Sounds
sense.
good.
But, it depends on what these things are costing. I mean, business cards are pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, business card. Let me see if I can find when I did the stickers. They weren't that expensive, I don't think. Like $50 for 200 of them.
Oh, really? That's not bad.
Yeah,
No, that's pretty reasonable. It's just all like how quickly are we going through them, and how are we using them?
we've had these ones for about a year, and we're going through and passing them out as we see people on the road to kind of, it's a little souvenir, but also to bring them back so they can find our website or find information.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. And I know we had talked about the QR codes, the QR code stickers. That's pretty easy to get done. If we can, I don't know, Michael, how much time you have right now, but if we can work on building out that, the web pages for that, then we can get those printed and have the QR codes assigned to the links. And I'm not really in a rush on that.
Now that may be a while.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'll have to look at and see what level Um, I can at least set up the framework. That part's pretty simple.
Okay.
It's not that divergent from my website. It's just
Yeah.
different information.
Yeah.
And then would the QR code stickers, would those be about the size of the those square ridge route stickers?
Yeah. So the square one it's the bigger one that fits those paddles almost
Yeah.
exactly in the width. I think it's like a 3-inch by 3-inch sticker.
So if we put that on a, like the Kelly's paddle, and we put one on the, Swedes cut, etc.
Yeah.
And then make sure. I think also we should check on the lettering itself that's on those paddles,
Yeah.
because at least a couple of those, I think it looked like the lettering starting to peel up a little bit.
Okay. So then when we do our paddle restoration project, maybe we get some extra lettering and we go through and re-letter the ones that are peeling off and then replace the ones that are broken or really rough.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Great. And then when I was on the phone with Scotty earlier, he was talking about having official stationery. Do you know, Michael, if we still have that?
We do. I do have
Okay.
some. It's just it does have outdated information.
Okay.
So we need to update that. I'm
All
just
right.
not sure how to do that.
Okay. If you have it somewhere where you can see it, just send me a picture of it. If not, I can make new stuff. I feel like that's not very expensive to get done. I mean, you can probably get it done at Staples or Office Depot
Yeah.
or something like that. Pretty cheap.
And with that, we might as well just go ahead and update it. It's not a matter of, it's
Yeah.
there's no need to keep it the same.
Sounds good. And with that, was it just papers or was it like postcards and envelopes? What
Envelopes and letterhead paper.
All right. Sounds good. And then we have flyers. I have this one that we've been using. I need to update it, but I know we had talked previously about having flyers to hand out. So I'll update this one and I'll send it out to you guys, just so you have it on hand. And if you're going to an event, it can easily be printed.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else when it comes to flyers, stickers, all that stuff?
One thing about the flyer there, I would also look into a lower color option.
Yeah.
It's cheaper that way.
Just like take the cream black background off and then maybe do the pictures as black and white.
If possible. I mean, I know that color definitely adds a lot.
Yeah.
But just from an expense standpoint, there's it's
a lot more going on.
Yeah.
All righty.
It looks really great though.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so then with that kind of sums up everything that I had. Any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
I don't actually have any right now.
Alrighty.
So
Great. And then does Erica want to add anything to what we've been doing here?
No, just kind of paying attention and listening.
All right, cool. We're happy to have you, Erica.
Thank you.
All right, so with that concludes our December board meeting here. I hope you guys all have a great Christmas, holidays, whatever you celebrate. And I'll see you all on the next one in January. Do you guys have dates in January that might work for you? Real quick before we check out here for the next one.
Well, I was wondering if we could plan ahead a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and maybe have some sort of like automatic uniform thing. I'm not sure if that would work, but for instance, today's the
17th.
the third Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
If Tuesdays are good for people, maybe do something like that. The third Tuesday of
Okay.
the month,
So that would be in January the 21st.
21st.
Does that work for you guys?
Works for me.
Right now, potentially it does. Tuesdays are generally not a problem for me.
Oh,
Okay. And then is this time slot good for y'all?
yeah.
All right. So then Tuesday the 21st of January at 7 p.m. will be our next board meeting. And then that following weekend on the 25th will be our first Clean Up the Ridge Road event of the year, depending on the weather. So that works perfectly. Alrighty. Is that all y'all have right now?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much for joining in. Hope you guys have a good holiday week here. And then I'll see you guys January 21st.
All righty.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you.